In this video, we will be talking about banned celebrations in the NFL. As if there's one thing that the NFL has an abundance of, it's their expressive players, no matter the side of the ball, offense or defense. When a player makes a big play in the game, you usually see them celebrate in some form of fashion. The most notable celebrations come when a player scores a touchdown. In the past, the celebrations were rather tame, with players spiking the ball, high-fiving teams, or doing the fist pump. However, in the modern era, players have taken touchdown celebrations to a whole new level. And for the bigwigs in the NFL, that's a big no-no. The NFL has recently cracked down on how players celebrate touchdowns, but it hasn't stopped them as they continue to rebel against the authority. And in the words of Lil Uzi, do what I want. On this list, you'll hear about a player more than once as they're a repeat offender, and proudly so. These are the top 9 banned touchdown celebrations. Number 9. Dancing. Get down on it. I know when I feel good about doing something, I like to get jiggy with it. Okay, cringe, I know, but NFL players are known to bust out dance moves when scoring the touchdown. And honestly, who doesn't want to see NFL players bust a move in the end? The NFL, that's who. A prime example of this would come in Week 1 of the 2016 season, when the Steelers wide receiver Antonio Brown, after scoring a touchdown against the Washington Redskins, proceeded to twerk in the end zone. While AB would receive praise for his touchdown from teammates and twerking skills from the twerk community, the ref gave him a thumbs down to go along with a flag for unsportsmanlike conduct. The NFL would fine Brown $15,000. But when asked about the fine, AB simply replied, "Money is nothing to a boss." Number 8. Props. Props are more commonly used in theater plays, but they have winded up on the football field quite a few times. The most notably prop came back in 2003 during a Sunday night football game between the Saints and the Giants. Saints wide receiver Joe Horn, after scoring his second touchdown of the evening, would pull off one of his most memorable celebrations of all time, when he reached inside the goalpost and pulled out a flip phone, pretending to make a phone call. While fans enjoyed the creative celebration, Horn's hotline bling irked the commentators, refs, and the NFL, who would go on to fine Horn $30,000. Yeesh, that's an expensive phone bill. But still not as much as the highway robbery that AT&T charges, I'll tell you that. Number 7. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Unsportsmanlike conduct can be anything really, it just all depends on the ref's mood, honestly. The king of unsportsmanlike conduct would be the controversial drama king himself, T.O., Terrell Owens. Owens is no stranger when it comes to touchdown celebrations, and the NFL coming down on him for it. On a Monday night football game in 2002 against the Seattle Seahawks, Owens would perform quite possibly his most infamous TD celebration when he pulled out a Sharpie pen to sign the ball and give it out to a fan, later to be revealed as Owens' financial advisor. The celebration was creative and clever, but also drew the ire of Seahawks head coach at the time, Mike Holmgren, and the NFL. However, the league didn't fine Owens, but after the incident, the league quickly imposed a new rule which banned players for carrying foreign objects with them on the field. Wait, the Sharpie was made in America, so how the hell is it a foreign object? Number 6. Inappropriate gestures. There's just something about sticking it to the opposing team and their fans when scoring a touchdown, especially in their own house. This was the case for the Hall of Famer Randy Moss back in 2004 in a playoff game against heated rivals Green Bay Packers. After catching his second TD of the game, Moss waltzed over to the goalpost and then proceeds to let the fans know that there was a full moon out tonight. The celebration was heavily criticized by analysts and commentators alike, and the NFL agreed by fining Moss a hefty $10 grand. Randy Moss, however, has no regrets, as going on the record saying if he could do it all over again, he would. That's straight cash money, homie. Number 5. Pylons. Those orange rectangular markers you see in the end zone are pylons, and they're there to determine if the touchdown was scored in or not. Basically a boundary, but not enough for players to use them to add in on their celebrations. One example would be Chad Johnson, or Chad Ochocinco, or whatever the hell he goes by now. In a game against the Ravens in 2005, after scoring a touchdown, Chad grabbed a pylon and used it as a golf club to putt the football. I mean, the man was probably trying to knock a few strokes off his game, but the NFL wasn't having it and ended up fining him a hefty $5K. This won't be the last time you'll hear his name, as the man is known for his over-the-top celebrations. Number 4. Unauthorized apparel. When it comes to apparel, the NFL is heavily strict about it. In 2013, Washington Redskins quarterback Robert Griffin III was fined $10,000 for just wearing his own custom shirt during the pregame. The pregame! Just imagine what if someone did it during a touchdown celebration. As a matter of fact, someone did do that, and that someone was Detroit Lions wide receiver Nate Burleson. During a game at home in Detroit, to celebrate his touchdown, Burleson would lift up his white shirt with black writing on it, and that was a huge red flag as far as the NFL was concerned. Players wearing any kind of apparel that isn't affiliated with them or the team the player plays for is a huge violation of the NFL's code. Burleson would later apologize, not to the big baddie, NFL, but to his coaches and teammates for putting them in the position. Swell guy. Number 3. Taunting. If you really want to rub it in someone's face, just a good old-fashioned taunt does the trick. And what if that someone was the referee? Oh, hell yeah! Anyone would love to get the opportunity to mock the refs if given, and if they're inconsistent with their calls. They probably deserve it. Such was the case in 2013 during a Saints game after wide receiver Lance Moore scored a touchdown, and then he and teammate Kenny Stills mocked the ref by recreating a skit from the Comedy Central show Key and Peele, where the player would get fined every time he did 3 thrust pumps. The ref didn't find it funny as they threw a flag not towards Moore, but towards Stills for using his towel as a prop. The league didn't find any of it humorous, as Stills would get fined for it. Sometimes the NFL gives people reason to call them the No Fun League. Have a sense of humor, will ya? Number 2. Cheerleaders. This one is a bit of a reach, but it certainly stirred the pot amongst the NFL and its fans, and the man to thank for that is someone we've discussed before, Chad Johnson, or Chad Ochocinco. During a game in the 2005 season, after making a big catch for a touchdown, Chad ran over to the cheerleaders as he took off his helmet and got on one knee to fake propose. Talk about a flex! Now, surprisingly, Johnson didn't get a fine, but received heavy scrutiny from the league and fans alike, as they perceived it as disrespectful and degrading to the cheerleader. When asked about it, Chad basically said he'd done it for real if it was getting that much attention. If that were the case, that marriage would have lasted longer than Todd Gurley's career. What, too soon? Number 1. Goalpost. NFL athletes are just that. They're athletes at the end of the day, and as athletes, sometimes they get the urge to want to do other athletics. And in the case of Jimmy Graham, despite being a tight end, he has shown the passion for basketball. One of Graham's signature celebrations after scoring a touchdown was to take the ball and dunk it over the goalpost. At first, there were no issues with it, as players have done well before Jimmy's time, including Hall of Famer Tony Gonzalez, who some say was the originator of the celebration. However, things came to a screeching halt during a game between NFC South rivals Saints and Falcons. After Graham had scored a touchdown, he went to do his usual dunking on the goalpost, but this time he did it with power. He did it with so much power that it completely bent the metal. That's frickin' insane. Graham would not be fined for it, but the league heavily reviewed it and decided that using the goalpost for a prop would be considered foul and a hefty fine. I'm pretty sure a lot of the boys don't care, as during this year's Pro Bowl, Packers wide receiver Davante Adams did a sick 360 dunk on the goalpost. Granted, it was the Pro Bowl, the second most meaningless game right behind preseason game. But still, it was impressive.